Hey everyone, I'm Ultraviolent 4 and this is part 5 of Faerie Dragon Fire Elementalist. I'm trying to teach you the fundamentals of playing a character that uses magic. It's going pretty well so far. In the last episode we did the first 2 floors of Lair, we did an ice cave, and we added a pretty handy spell to our offensive arsenal, and that is Bolt of Fire. That was a gift from Vehumet, and that's going to address all our bolt needs. Very handy when enemies are in a hallway or lined up behind each other. It's something that you always want to have as a caster, a bolt spell, if you can get one. Speaking of ice caves, I need to remember that we can take this ring of protection from cold off now. We don't need 2 pips of RC. And we see here an artifact amulet. I'm not going to put this on until we can identify it. In addition to the fact that amulets can be dangerous on their own, they can be the draining brand, for instance. An artifact can have other bad qualities. For instance, it can have contam, which means if we equipped it and then unequipped it, we'd get really badly contaminated. That could give us bad mutations, and that's something that we don't want to do. So we're going to wait for that one. Let's just see. Yep. Behemoth's offering us Freezing Cloud, but that's not really a spell we want. It overlaps with AoE, which we've already got Fireball for, and to an extent Bolt of Fire. They're both AoEs, just in different ways. One's a square, one's a line. So we got that covered, and then it's 3 schools, 2 of which we've never trained before, so that's not going to be a spell that we're going to go for. If you are an Ice Elementalist and you're heavily into ice magic, Freezing Cloud would be amazing for you, but that's not us. Alright, we've got here a Scroll of Amnesia. I've been looking at our spell list a lot. We've got a few different spells here that we could get rid of. How many spell levels do we have left? 7, so we're not hurting for spell levels really. So we could just get rid of our level 1 spells. If we were struggling for spell levels, I'd probably get rid of Olgrabs. While it's good for AoE, again it overlaps with our other spells that we have. We also didn't roll Spider's Nest in this game, which is where Olgrabs really shines. But we're not, so I think we'll get rid of one of our level 1s. Shock's our level 1 of choice, so Flame Tongue or Magic Dart, not too much difference. Let's just pick randomly. Magic Dart, goodbye. Alright, and let's get on with Lair. Immolation. Those are usually, they're turned off by default, but you should pick those up. Oh, he walks through the fire. There you go. Because you can do some very nasty things with those. I hope at some point I'll get to show you. But particularly because you're a blaster caster, you can kill things from range. So if you don't know Immolation, you should. It puts Inner Flame on every enemy that's on your screen, which means they explode in a fireball when they die. So because you have range with your spells, you can immolate a pack of enemies at a distance, and then when you kill one, it will set off a chain reaction where they all blow up. It's great. It's very powerful, used at the right time. As long as you don't kill yourself with it. Okay, so here's a Centaur. That's not a regular enemy in Lair. That tells me that we've rolled Shoals, which is, in some ways it's a good thing. Most of the time for most characters, Shoals is harder than Swamp, but for reasons we'll talk about in a little bit, Shoals is actually pretty good for a Fire Elementalist. We found some Identify scrolls, so we're going to immediately do that. Artifact Amulet. Yeah, okay. As I was saying, Harm Amulets, scary. So we dodged that one. The R Poison is nice to have, but it's not worth the fact that we'd be taking additional damage from everything. I'm going to ID one of these potions, Berserk Rage. Not quite so useful for this character, but I don't know. Maybe we might need it. Here's a Ring of Wizardry. This could be handy when we get to our final gifts from Vehement, if we want to go towards, say, Firestorm or something like that, but we don't need it now. We'll carry it with us, we'll see. Yeah, the black mamba here is sort of... Oh no, it's alright. I thought the plants would be kind of blocking us. They are a bit, but not too badly. Of course, we're going with Fireball because we want to get around the fact that it has high evasion. Fireball can't miss. Oh, wow. Okay, two things here. One is... oh, well, we can't wear body armor. It's going to say an artifact plate armor. That's irrelevant. And a scroll of acquirement. Okay, let's see. So the things we could get here. I just wanted to look at our gear first, because once you get into the acquirement menu, you can't then look at your gear. So we don't care about weapon really. Staff we don't care about so much because we'd have to give up a buckler due to our small size. It's really between armor, and there are a few things that we could upgrade here. Our Scarf of Resistance is really nice, but we don't have a hat. Our boots are a bit enchanted but plain. Same with our gloves and buckler. So we could get upgrades on those. Or we could go with jewelry. Okay, here's the thing. Let's go /- We'll look at the jewelry we don't know. And it's actually a lot of things. So when you acquire things, it's weighted more towards items you've never seen before. So if you have many sort of mediocre pieces of jewelry like this, where you might just get a ring of flight, ring of positive energy, a ring of strength, all these things that wouldn't be too good for us, I would hold off on using it. Once you've seen them all, you're more likely to just get some amazing artifact ring that you've... Well, of course you've never seen that artifact ring because they're always different. But anyway, so I think the option is to go armor and to see if we can upgrade some of our gear here. We got a twisted hat, it's an artifact hat. For the same reasons as the amulet, I'm not going to put this on yet. Could have draining, could have contamination, in addition to being, say, a minus cast item. There's our Shoal's entrance. While we have all grabs, I should be using it. And this is a good time for Bolt of Fire. Okay. For these sort of regular enemies now, I'm not, and we haven't for a while, we haven't been too afraid of letting them get into melee range, and then we're just sticky flaming them and kiting. This is way too many yaks. This must be multiple yak packs. Yeah, look, they just keep coming, infinite yaks. We'll go Bolt of Fire again. No, we can't. Come on now. Oh, we can't get all three. Okay, never mind. I'm being a bit lazy there. I allowed 2 yaks to hit us at once. Probably shouldn't do that, but that's okay. Our defenses are pretty good. We've got our bonus evasion and AC and shield, all from being a fairy dragon. Alright, good. We're on the lookout for an identify scroll. New scrolls, /- again. I think from memory, yeah. These scrolls we're not in any particular hurry to find, and there are some really useful ones here, in particular blinking and silence. So I think I'd rather just hold off. If acquirement was still in that list, maybe I'd read it in the hope we got lucky, but otherwise we're not really in a rush. We can wait until we have plenty of ID and then we'll do that one. Might be a while though. We've got 2 potions we don't know and the artifact hat. Yeah, there are none. I was just checking. We haven't seen any shops that have scrolls in them. Alright, same plan. Actually, you can step back a tile and we can put some fire down first, and then that will kill it pretty quickly. These animations are pretty slow. It seems like when I'm playing locally and I'm recording, my computer really cannot handle it. So we get to see these drawn out, what are those things called? Shocks. Little lightning bolts. Lightning bolt, lightning bolt, lightning bolt. In all its glory. That's what I always think of. That's like a classic video. It's like a video from before the days when YouTube was even a thing. A Sentinel's mark forms on you, so we just got alarm trapped. Only one angry hiss. I think we've done most of the floor, so there aren't too many things running at us. Was that another amnesia scroll I saw? What do I keep doing? I keep accidentally minimizing my game. You can't see that because I'm recording the window, but it's about the 4th time this episode that I've alt-tabbed. I think I'm accidentally just hitting the Windows button. Let's see. I think I saw an amnesia scroll. I did. I've got those turned off from auto pickup. So we'll amnesia. Our other level 1 spell, which is Flame Tongue. Cool. And on we go. We're near starving. We probably should just eat. We're never going to have food troubles with a Faerie Dragon having no spell hunger. So you don't want to become starving in the middle of a fight, because when you're starving, you can't cast spells. So there might be some really tense situation where every turn matters, but instead of doing something productive, you have to then eat. So we'll eat beforehand. We just ran away. I was going to say, we could bolt a fire through the plant. I mean, if he's going to be dumb like this. Good. Sack of spiders really aren't good without any evocations training. It's not like a box of beasts. We haven't seen any of those, but even with 0 skill, a box of beasts is pretty good. But sack of spiders is not. I don't know if you noticed, but when we saw that first wolf, I started backing up because you don't want to fight multiple wolves. They're one of those enemies that I said when we began Lair are kind of dangerous, especially if you fight them in the open, because they can be in large packs and they're fast. And backing up when we're resting, for exactly the reason you just saw. We made fireball. We used a fireball. It made a whole bunch of noise, and then enemies came running in from both sides. If they were 2 dangerous uniques, we might have been in trouble. Here we've got some dream sheep. You need to be careful of those. They ignore your MR, so yeah, you really don't want to have big packs hitting you. If you get packs of those guys, they're gonna put you to sleep for sure. And if there's something dangerous around, like a Hydra, you're gonna die. Good auto-targeting game, thank you. Shooting 1 sheep when we could shoot 2. Oh, suddenly Black Mamba. That was my bad. I've been trying to convey how it's important to walk away from the fireball to rest, but didn't that time, and then we got the adjacent Black Mamba. Punished. Where are our identify scrolls? I want to know what this hat is. The Basilisk has a 6% chance to petrify. Why is that? We got 2 points of MR. Is that on something else? No, we're just getting MR as we're leveling up. If that was higher than 6%, or there was something else dangerous around, we could have switched to our Ring of Protection from magic. And we're getting more punished again. Same thing. The noise when we're trying to rest has brought extra enemies to us. Where a whole bunch of snakes, in fact. Okay, so this time I'm going to learn. We're on 7 mana, which is not a lot if we have to start another dangerous fight, so we're going to back up to rest. Pretty much every time I haven't done it, it's demonstrated that additional enemies are going to be running at you. It's okay if we didn't make the noise, but yeah, with the fireball, enemies are coming for sure. Death Yaks, okay. These guys hit really hard for up to 30 damage. They're pretty durable, and especially if you let multiple death packs hit you at once, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. The thing to note is that they're only 10 speed enemies, so if you just, yeah, you see that hurts. If you can just have one at a time on top of you, you can sticky flame them and then kite them like this. Okay, that's not so good because the Black Mamba's fast. That's alright. There's a bit of, oh, that's an anaconda. Let's get away from him. Same thing every time. We got lucky because he didn't see us, but we were getting punished again for resting in the open after a fireball. I don't know. I'm being lazy, but it's showing you. And I mean, I'm probably, if you're just learning caster, not even probably, I'm going to say I'm going to be better at this than you are. So I can be lazy, but it shows you that even if you be just a little bit lazy, how punished you can get and how frequently. Anacondas are scary. It's the same reasoning as a Black Mamba, except instead of poisoning you, they'll constrict you. So we went with the fireball because it couldn't miss. We've got a ring there that we don't know. Okay. Do we have... No, I just searched. We don't have any arc corrosion. What we can do here is... These guys can't move. So we step into the edge of line of sight here. And then we hit them with fire. We can take them on. And if we're going to die, then we just step around the corner. Like that. We just got corroded and hit pretty hard. So we step back around. Yeah, same thing. We just be patient. We get him eventually. Okay. Whoa. Let's try this ring out. A ring of magical power. I would rather have that than 2 extra intelligence. All our spells are extremely castable. So the +2 int doesn't matter so much. I'd rather have the plus dex than plus int because it gives us extra evasion and extra shield. But the Ring of Magical Power gives us an extra 9 magic points, which is very useful. Obviously we can never quite go to 0 as a Faerie Dragon, but given the choice, I'd rather be casting fireballs and bolts of fire than shocks. As shocking as that is. That's terrible. I don't know, such a low-hanging fruit to make shock jokes, but here we are. Sometimes you just can't help yourself. Okay, on to Lair 6. If you've been having trouble in Lair, and there are definitely casters where that can happen, particularly if you're Sif Muna. I've had characters where Sif Muna has gifted me books and every single one has had utility or defensive spells in it, but never offensive spells. And I was like a wizard or something, so I'm trying to kill things with magic dart. I don't know. So if you've been less lucky than this character and you're having a lot of trouble in Lair, it is perfectly reasonable to skip Lair 6 and to go to the Orcish Mines. Because Lair 6 can be significantly more dangerous. Particularly, it depends on what layout you get, but there are a couple where you're likely to get swarmed by lots of fast-moving enemies. We'll see what we get. We don't know yet. There's one that's kind of like a swamp, where there's a lot of water in the middle, and there'll be lots of vampire mosquitoes, lots of hydras, which is scary around water, lots of spiny frogs, etc. There's another one that, oh, that's a lot of death yaks. Let's see if we can blow a few up before they get to us. But I think we're just going back up the stairs here. Yep, okay, we'll pull one up. We do not want to go back down there because we're going to be surrounded by death yaks, and we're going to be on an unexplored floor, so that's no good. Let's eat because we're near starving. Ooh, okay, so this is really bad. So our other two stairs are here, and there's a Hydra here. How many heads? 5. Not too scary, but it means for our stairs, 2 are here next to a Hydra. The other one is surrounded by a bunch of Death Yaks. So we need to blow this Hydra up. And say we fail to do it, this might be a situation where we would then skip Lair for the moment and go to the Orcish mines. I'm pretty confident we can blow the Hydra up though. Let's see. We need to try. Yeah, okay, we've got him. So that's alright. We just made a lot of noise, so yeah, I was about to say we might be about to get swarmed here. But there's not a lot we can do about it. We need the stair pull because say this could go easily very horribly wrong. We've got 3 enemies, 2 of which are fast and are venomous. If we need to teleport, we do not want to be on Lair 6 where the floor is unexplored. We could end up in the middle of one of the dangerous vaults that I was just talking about with lots of fast moving enemies. I'm allowing a few turns of the enemies hitting us to get in a choke point here where we can then fight one enemy at a time. Nice, okay. Vehement's just offered us knowledge of Lightning Bolt. We can cast it immediately off the bat here, even without any air training. It's at 4%, but I'm not going to. It's not just because Lightning Bolt tends to miss a lot, so I don't like it. It's also because we've already got our Bolt spell. Once you've got Bolt of Fire, you don't really need a second one. Similarly for Bolt of Cold, I'd say if you have either of those two, you probably don't need any others. If you've got Lightning Bolt or you have Bolt of Magma or Venom Bolt, maybe you'd also go for Bolt of Cold or Fire, but yeah. Once you have one of those two, you're sorted. Here's an Identify scroll. Let's do our Twisted Hat. A +1 hat, strength +4. Not too exciting, but that's still giving us an extra AC and some extra strength. Not that strength does much for our character, but I'll take it. The main thing strength does is let you wear heavier armor, but we literally can't wear any body armor, so it doesn't matter. Alright. A cool thing with the noise here is that while we're camping on the stairs, the noise that's pulling all these enemies to us is actually pretty good. Like, look at this. That's IRL noise you're hearing. That's a plane. That's not in the game. Yeah, see, we're just chilling out here and the enemies are coming to us one at a time. This is amazing. And at any point we could just go back upstairs. This is great. It's kind of... It's something that I feel is misunderstood by a lot of players. Particularly you see it on the tavern if you ever hang out there, or on Reddit. There's a very pervasive opinion among the crawl community. It's the wisdom, basically, is that noise is really bad because it attracts enemies to you. And it can be really bad. So in the earlier floors where I've been saying where we're resting, we're on low magic points, noise is bad then because it's going to pull enemies to you. But noise when you're in a strong position is actually good, as you've seen here, because we're camping out on stairs where we could easily leave at any point. So in that case, pulling the enemies to you at stairs is actually a strong thing. So yeah. Say you were camping out on the stairs like we were there and one enemy rocked up. If you were trying to debate, should I be using Fireball or should I be using Bolt of Fire? Turns out that the noisy one is actually better. Okay, this time we want to hang back. So it's not one of the other floors that I thought of. The other especially dangerous one for fast moving enemies is, it's kind of, how do you describe it? It's got a middle thing with like branches coming out, kind of like a pinwheel, but without the outside bit. I don't know if that made any sense. Or like a dartboard, something like that. But in the middle, it often has some spiders and then a guardian serpent which can blink them on you, and a bunch of black mambas and things. So they're all fast, you get blinked on continually, and it's just a bad time. If you get that floor and you recognize it, that might be one that you want to skip Lair 6 for a little bit. This one I think is called the Water Palace. So it also has a water bit in the middle. But what's dangerous about this one is it has a siren in it. I don't know, it's either a siren or a merfolk avatar, but both of them have mesmerization. So what happens is it mesmerizes you to pull you into the water. There might be a bunch of dangerous things in there. Sometimes there's a dire elephant, sometimes there's a hydra or two. And so while you're stuck in there, then the dangerous ones get you. So what you want to do, well, let's deal with these death yaks first. We pulled them from the stair we were at before to this one. I don't mind pulling one up. I don't want to take multiple though. And then I want to go to the stair that used to have the death yaks, which is not that one, it's the other one. This one, yeah, the one we X'd out. Well, we can un-X it now. Okay, let's go with the noisy option. Here they come. Okay, so I made the decision there that even though we were kind of low on magic points, I still didn't mind bringing the Death Yak up with us. Because even if that sticky flame didn't kill him, he's still a 10 speed enemy, so we could, once we pull him upstairs, we could walk him around for ages until our magic came back. And we could do more sticky flames. Okay, we're going to clear our way back to the stairs. We'll make sure we've got all those Death Yaks, so that if we need to bail up the stairs because we're running from something dangerous, our path is clear. I'm just going to sweep back around to the other stair. Alright, that's good. Okay, so the way you want to do this water temple is that you want to clear all around the outside of the map before you head into the middle to do it. So we're going to stick to the sides first, and then once we've mopped everything out, or we've mopped up everything that's on the sides, then we'll head in. So here's a really good use of our bolt spell. It's also a really good time to be using Ogrebs, because that value we're getting. Value. I am a sucker for value. Will not deny that. Okay. On we go. Let's not be lazy and explore when we don't have full mana. We could melee these plants, but we could also just blow them up to open our path here. Yeah, I'm trying to hit the plant. That's the point. Okay. Yeah, there we go. It's a scroll of summoning. It's a good tool to have if we ever run out of mana. In a pinch, we can summon a whole bunch of monsters. Let's stick away from the water in the middle. Keep trying to head left. We can't go that way, so we'll head, rather than heading up through the middle, we'll head around to the right. Okay, more identify. The potions are more important than the scroll is. We've got resistance. Okay, we really want to back up from the dream sheep if we can. Where there's one, there's probably 5 more. Oh, okay, no, this isn't the water one. Did we just get debated? I think we did. Huh. Was that? I swear I've been looking at a water tile. I have. That's a water tile, surely. Okay, well, I think we got debated. Yeah, okay. So it's... Well, I just taught you how to do the water temple floor, but this, in fact, is not that floor. This one is... that explains why there are so many Death Yaks. So it's a Catoplepus floor. There are a bunch of these hallways that you'll see in a second. with some catoplopuses. Well, I'll show you catoplopuses in a second, how to fight those. But this one is not too bad as long as you're careful. Alright, we're running out of mana. Okay, that's alright. So we're basically out of mana, but we can kite this guy. Every time we get 3 mana, we can give him another sticky flame. Alright, so how this one works. You've got several of these sort of corridors like this. You end up in these chambers that have lots of yaks, lots of death yaks, and then a catoplopus in each one. And what those guys do, let's not rest in the open, is... oh, that's dangerous. If you ever get a catoplopus with a manticore, that's a nightmare situation. So they make calcifying dust, and if you stand in that, then you get petrified. So you need to move out of it immediately. But manticores barb you, so you get hurt every time you move. So if you ever get those two together, not a good time. Okay, we kite the death yaks. Let's be patient. Fighting to 14. We're still just training our defensive skills, aren't we? Yeah, we are. There are still no high level spells that we want to go for, so we'll just become more survivable. We're not having any trouble killing things, so yeah, let's be stronger. New wand. It's a wand of flame. I don't think we're ever going to need a wand of flame, especially without evocations. It's like casting a low level conjuration spell, but we can cast those for free anyway as shocks, so that would be my preferred play. This stuff, let's check those out. With backslash in our auto pickup, I'm going to make us pick up unknown magical staves. Even though we can't use those with our buckler, there are still some situations where we might want those. For instance, a staff of wizardry, just like this. If we ever find deflect missiles and we want to cheese it, that staff of wizardry might come in handy. Let's put our buckler back on and wield our spear. Alright. This is good. Okay, let's not stand in the open like that and allow Catoplopus and a bunch of yaks to hit us all at the one time. Nice. Okay, we reached level 15, we want more int. Alright, so here's what happens with the calcifying dust. The trick to fighting a Catoplopus is not to play too fast, because every time this happens, you need to step out of it. If you stay in the dust, you'll get petrified, and then they'll just start mauling you to death. I have in my RC file an option that it's called a force maul. That every time calcifying dust happens, it makes me hit enter or spacebar. So that's a really good option. I'll put it in the description because if you don't have it, it's a really, really good one. It makes these fights a lot safer. But if you don't have that, just fight these guys really slowly, because if you mess up, you're gonna die. And it's a simple case of they calcify you, you move. I will note though that sometimes, let's see, where's a good example? Let's say this is a hallway and it's a one tile hallway. That can sometimes happen. If you see the Catoplopus and you're standing in a hallway like that, don't fight the Catoplopus yet. Back up and get out of the hallway. Because if you're stuck on one tile, you're not going to be able to escape the dust when it hits you. So right here, this isn't a good example. Because if he dusted us here, I could still step forward and we could get out of it. So that's okay. But say there was a tile here. It'd be a situation where I'd want to step through to get more open space before we fought him. Because let's say he dusted us here and here. I'd have to move on this tile. And then if he dusted that tile, we'd be completely surrounded by calcifying dust. It's like a little mini game. where just be patient and you can't really lose. As long as they don't calcify you and petrify you, they're basically like a death yak. They're a 10 speed enemy, so you can kite them with sticky flame. And they do hit hard, but you can just walk away from them and they'll never be able to hit you, except on the turns when you sticky flame them. Alright, so we got the dust. Let's make sure we step out of it. It's one of the few times, in fact, where if you have a scarf of cloud immunity, it's really useful because you won't get calcified. Okay, here's the perfect example. Here's the one tile hallway, and he would have been in here originally. So say we'd walked up this hallway, we see the Catopopus, like we're standing here, we go, yeah, we'll blow him up, and then he calcifies us, and it goes all the way down here, and now we're like, uh-oh, can't step forward, can't step back, what have I done? So try not to do that. One of Scattershot can be good against Hydras even with 0 Evo, but we have no problem killing Hydras anyway. So I'm just going to drop that and then turn those off in auto pickup. A bunch of these ones we don't need actually. We'll never need Scattershot, Flame, we don't need more disintegration. Enslavement, not really. I'd probably rather have paralysis most of the time. Speaking of which, we've got a bunch of paralysis now, so we'll drop the enslavement. We've never trained any Evo. I mean, maybe we could, but no. Again, we're not having any trouble killing things, we'll just get more defenses. I don't know, it's another noob trap that I often see where, I don't know, someone will be playing a caster character like this and they'll have Firestorm and Shadow Creatures and all these spells that can win the game, and maybe they've also trained a good weapon to Mindalay, and then they'll be like, what should I train? I could train Glaciate as well, or I could get another level 9 spell, I could get Tornado or Shatter maybe. It's like, no, please, just, you got enough offense already, please just get defense. Just train your fighting skill. That's all you need to do and then you'll win. Because that's the thing about Crawl. I'm imagining the thinking meme. If your HP never drops below 0, you can't die. Anyway, that's our Lair done, so that's good. Have we seen Orcish Mines? We have, it was on D9. Okay, so let's go into Orcish Mines first. I think Orcish Mines is usually much less dangerous than up to D15. Thing to note here is if you have low MR, we've got 2 pips, but say you only had 1, you need to be extremely careful here of Orc Sorcerers. I'm going to XV the first one we see, but a play that we have if we still have a chance of being paralyzed, which is what you're mostly afraid of, is we can put our protection from Magic Ring on. Oh, hello Ogre. Yeah, okay. If you have Ogrebs here, this is actually another good place where Ogrebs shines through. Not as good as Spider's Nest, but still pretty good. Ooh, that's interesting. Because all these, particularly these random just normal orcs, will get pretty owned by Ogrebs. You get a lot of value. So Vehement's just offered us Spellforge Servitor, which is a very interesting spell. It's kind of a funny spell. Let's have a look at it. It's a Conjuration Summoning combination, which is a little bit weird. It's not 2 that you normally put together because summons usually interfere with conjurations because they get in your way. But this is one where it's a little bit different. It's more of a conjuration spell than it is a summoning spell. So what does it do? It makes an extra planar. I don't even know what that means. Elemental extra planar. It's got to be planar. I guess it's from some other plane of existence. Man, okay, this is a really waffly description here. Abstract one. I'll just explain it. what it does is it makes a servitor who has a spell list taken from the spells that you already know. So I don't have Beam here, so I can't show you the actual list. But if you have Beam, you can look it up. You could also just go to the wiki and see which spells it can do. But basically, for 7 mana or 6 mana for us, because we get a discount of 1, you can get so much value out of it because your servitor will start casting your other spells. I know just because I happen to know it. He'll cast Shock, he'll cast Fireball, Sticky Flame, and Bolt of Fire. So if we cast it for 6 mana, and then it casts 2 Bolts of Fire, which is 10 mana's worth, we already won. So it's a really good spell. It can do some crazy things. So for instance, I think, again, I wish I had Beam. I think basically as long as you're below 50% failure to cast the spell, your servitor will have no problem doing it. So for instance, say you've managed to find Crystal Spear, which is quite hard to cast. It's a level 8 spell, but is extremely powerful. If you have servitor, all you have to do is train it to below 50% to fail. You don't have to go all the way, and then you can have a servitor who's just casting the level 8 really high damage spell. So that's a good one. So we're gonna pick that up. I really like this spell on a blaster caster, like this one. Let's put it on maybe Q. Using equals S. Oh no, that's my Sticky Flame. Never mind. We'll put it on W. Okay, and I'm going to make a macro for that on 2. Okay, cool. We can test. Actually, no, we can't because it's 69% chance to fail. So here we go. We're going to want to probably ultimately train some more conjurations, but I think for the moment, let's just focus our summonings, and we'll bring it to, say, 8. It's not one of our +2 aptitudes, so it's not quite as good, but all we need to do is get this one castable. So I'll continually be checking on it, and once it stops being red and really high chance, we'll start doing that one. And the reason I said I was going to check it is because once you summon it, you can examine it and see what its spell list has. There's a little bit of anti-synergy with being a fairy dragon. And that's because, so when you have your servitor, you want it to be casting the big spells. You want it to have Bolt of Fire, Fireball, etc. You don't want it casting level 1 spells like Shock or Magic Dart. So the play for when you have a servitor is to forget all the low ones. But our level 1 Shock is pretty valuable to us because it's free. So slight anti-synergy, but that's okay. That's not a reason enough to avoid the servitor. Summoning's to level 1. I'm not in a huge hurry, as in our current spell set that we have is already more than sufficient to clear the Orcish mines with. If we were struggling to kill things, I would consider turning off all training and just doing summonings to try to get this spell as quickly as possible. But because we're not in too much of a hurry, we'll just leave our fighting and dodging training on. Okay, good. We're out of mana, we made a bunch of noise. We'll back up to the stairs to rest. It's a very plain-filled episode, this one. All you plane fans. I know some of you are here for the planes. I know, I've been told. It's our Orcish mines. Oh, we have seen all our downstairs. Okay. That means there's no disconnected area. Quite often, there are bits of Orc 1 that are disconnected. Here's our first Orc Sorcerer. We'll XV him. 7% chance to paralyze us. That's not too high as long as there's not something extremely dangerous around. So I think we can just blow him up. Okay, good. And these regular orcs will just get our Ogreb's value. So much value. If they ever make it to us, we'll... Oh wow. The auto-targeter went for the one plain orc rather than the warrior and the priest there. Oh dear, the fireball auto-targeter. Why do you do this? I'm just gonna hang out at the stairs. This looks like it's the ogre ending. If you do get the ogre ending like this, be wary of the ogre mages. Same reason as the orc sorcerers, they have paralyze, or they can have paralyze rather. Thankfully the days where they had banish are now gone, but still. Okay, we've got an orc warlord. These guys hit really hard. 32 plus its war axe. And especially if there's an orc knight around at the same time to might it, really dangerous. You do not want these guys to be hitting you much. Maybe you could sticky flame him once, maybe even twice if you're feeling a bit crazy. But do not let... Oh yeah, here's the ogre mage. Let's XP him. He could have several spell sets, but one of them might be a paralyzed, and it's a 9% chance to get us. That's pretty low, but if we get paralyzed while there's an orc warlord around, we will 100% die. So we're just going to go back upstairs. And part of the reason for that is that if you're a high evasion character that uses dodging rather than heavy armor to survive, you get so punished by paralyze because it sets your evasion to 0 or 1 or 2 maybe, and it sets your shield to 0. So the enemies they're not going to miss, and if you have low AC you're going to die pretty quickly. So I'm picking this stair we don't know. I don't know if I pointed this out to you this playthrough, but if you don't know a stair, it's got that little yellow asterisk on it. So we don't want to go down to either of these two where the warlord and the mage are hanging out. We want to go to the unknown stair, and we want to get as much value as we can from Ogrebs. Okay. We can hit them both with a well-placed fireball here. Look at that. How's 52% on servitor, so it's pretty rapidly dropping. We reflected an exploding tomahawk there. That was cool. And then it exploded on the guy. Alright, here's the mage. I don't want that 9% paralyzed, so we're going to go to our protection from magic, and we're going to try to blow him up. He could also have crystal spear, and I can't use beam to see exactly how much damage his crystal spear can do, but I think it's close to 100. So you need to be very careful of those guys, even if they can't paralyze you. Because they can two-shot basically any character at this point in the game if you're unlucky. In fact, I think maybe we'll keep our protection from magic ring on, because there are likely to be another 1 or 2 ogre mages around. What I should do is head over to these other stairs. We'll see if we can get the Orc Warlord. Just get rid of him. Yeah. Our destructive spells are pretty powerful. There are not too many things that we can't blow up from full screen with our fireballs. There's another Ogre Mage. Quickly blow him up. Okay, good. Now that we're running out of mana, I want to head back to the stairs. Okay, nice. The double-headed ogres at this point are kind of like all the beefy enemies that we've talked about that are 10 speed. We can let it hit us once or twice, and then that hurt. And then we can just kite it with Sticky Flame. Note that these guys, Cyclopses, apparently I often unknowingly call them Centaurs. People pointed that out to me multiple times in the past. I never knew I was doing that though. They're slow, so you can always walk away from them. There's very little reason to die to a Centaur if you meet one at full screen, because you can always just walk away. That screen freaks me out. The pickup menu like that, that's not in the online client, scares me. Same thing, it's a 10 speed enemy, hits pretty hard, can bite for 27 and claw twice for 20, so we're talking about 67 damage. That's really quite a lot, but it's 10 speed, you can kite it with the Sticky Flame. What? This is going great, all this noise we're making. It's pulling enemies to us one at a time. Because how this often plays out is that you've got a vault at the end that have all these trolls and all these ogres that are all chilling together. So you walk up to it and then suddenly you're fighting them all at once, along with the ogre mages. But because the noise has been it's been waking the enemies up, so they're just wandering around, we've been able to fight them one at a time. Thank you, noise. It's not a bad thing. Like any tool, it's neutral. Depends how you use it. Vehement has just offered us Bolt of Cold. So, I touched over this earlier. It's a bolt spell. We don't need another bolt spell. If we had, say we had no way at this point of killing fire immune enemies, there might be some sort of argument to learn Bolt of Cold as well. I mean, we don't have great other options, but we still do. We can grab things, we can shock them, and that's it. But still, we have other options. So I don't think we need to delve in. It's just working out so well. Just fighting all these enemies one at a time. Alright, we've got our MR ring on, so yeah, 0% chance to get paralyzed, so I'm not afraid of that here. Alright. Oh, we miscast Bolt of Fire at 2% chance to fail to allow the Orc Waller to get into melee. It's unfortunate. How about, we can take him up. If it's just him, he's gonna get at least one chance to hit us here. Alright, we got him. Okay. Oh, wow. Okay, we one-shot the sorcerer. I was going to say, fighting summoners on stairs is a very powerful play because summons can't follow stairs, so you can just go back up. Just reset the fight. How's our servitor going? 36% chance, still too high. So we've still never really found the vault. We've just been fighting the enemies as they filter out one at a time. It's great. Noise OP. Let's make some noise. Note that it's a less good tactic when by the time you get to vaults, because you can get locked in. That's alright, we don't have to deal with that now. A bunch of wands, I don't think we're gonna do that. I mean, maybe. If all these shops are really bad. A food shop's useless to us, we're never running out of food. We've got some scrolls here. There's a potion we don't know, so I'm immediately gonna pick up the identify. And we'll do this potion. It's haste. Okay, good to have. Other things, got cancellation. We've already got 2 of those, that's okay. It's not a potion you need to use very often, so we don't really need that. And the others, oh, there's another identifier. Okay, let's get that. We'll do our scroll. Silence. Okay, that might sound funny, but there are situations where you have a dangerous unique, or say like a lich or something, where even though you can't cast, you'd rather it didn't cast either. We've got a bookshop here, which I can see just off the bat that there are a lot of useful spells here. I think probably we'll talk about those a bit more in depth to start the next episode. We'll just explore around, we'll see what other shops we have. Yep, so that's it for Orcish Mines. Alright, so we'll leave that one for now. There are a lot of good options in that bookshop actually. Where is it? We'll head there, we'll get ready for the next one. So what we'll be doing is maybe spending our 2,000 gold on a bunch of books. We'll open up a library. Literally open up the library. We'll be finishing off dungeon, and then we'll be heading into our first rune branch, which should be fun. So hopefully see you back for that one. Goodbye.